Hi, everybody. I am so excited to be here. My name's Helen, and I am so happy to have you here on my first masterclass. Now, we were going to go live, but unfortunately, you maybe can tell by the sound of my voice, I have got COVID. So what I decided to do was to record this in between feeling well from taking tablets so that you could still have this masterclass, because I didn't want to let anybody down that's joined up. Thank you so much for joining as well. It is so nice to know that there are people out there who are wanting to have this masterclass. And I hope you enjoy it. It's something that is really close to my heart. So obviously a little introduction about myself for those who don't know me. My name is Helen, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about how I started coaching and why I started coaching. So I have 4 children, and the whole of my life I have felt not good enough. Not good enough as a mum, not good enough as a social care worker. I worked in social care for 20 something years. Not good enough daughter, not good enough sister. And there were always things that held me back. Now, where those feelings came from, I'm sure therapy will tell me. But I got to the point in my life where I started to feel those feelings really deeply. And I am an empath. I do feel really, really deeply. But I started feeling like there was more to that life than this. There was more to life than not feeling good enough. And I think really all stemmed from my weight. My weight fluctuated up and down through having children. And I got to the point where my mental health was really bad. My weight was high. I used to weigh over 20 stone. And I decided that there was going to be more to life than this. There had to be more to life than feeling not good enough in myself and feeling like I wasn't reaching my true potential. So I went to see a bariatric coach. So I was thinking about having gastric sleeve surgery or bariatric surgery. And I enlisted the help of a coach to work out those feelings in my mind. And it opened up massive doors for me, not just with my weight, but also these feelings of not feeling good enough. And through her guidance and her support, I began to realize that a lot of things that were going on in my life, a lot of things that had happened in my life were things that I could change. And that hence the reason why all this came about. So I chose to have gastric sleeve surgery. I'd heard about coaching in the workplace and knew that that was something I was interested in. And she lit a spark in me, basically. I wanted to know more. I wanted to then help other people not live in that sense of feeling not good enough and like they were missing out on their purpose. Hence the reason I started coaching. I have since lost 8.5 stone, and that is through having weight loss surgery, but also sticking to the tools and the kind of guidance that I learned through coaching, because weight loss surgery, like anything, is a tool. You have to just work with it. And I've also done a lot of work on myself as well. My mental health is in a lot better place. Do I still have down days? Of course I do. But I am in such a better place now. And it is all down to coaching. It is being my light at the end of the tunnel. And I want to share that with other people. So the reason for me wanting to do this masterclass today is because, like I said, I struggled a lot with feeling not good enough. And I learned that that is the inner critic. And basically, it's my little self-preservation mode, trying to protect me from outcomes that may hurt me. And while it's the loudest voice that I heard for a long time, there's also something else that we have called the inner truth. And that's the part of us that tells us that we are worthy, that we are capable, and we're allowed to take up space and do whatever we want. In my case, that voice was so quiet and so soft. It took me a long time to tune out the inner critic and tune up my inner truth. And that's what I want to help you do today. So this masterclass is all about tuning out your inner critic and tuning in your inner truth. So before we get going any further, I want you to pause the recording. I want you to grab yourself a drink. I want you to grab yourself a notebook. And I want you to give me just 20 minutes to 30 minutes of your time. So go in a quiet room, find a space, go sit in the car if you need to listen to this. But give yourself some time for you to listen to this. So push the pause button now and go get yourself ready. Okay, welcome back for those people who did pause. I'm sure there's some rebels out there who didn't bother. That's so me. I'm with you there. So let's talk about something that we all have, this inner critic. So the inner critic is that running commentary. It tells you things like you're not good enough, or you should have it all together by now, or why did you do that? That wasn't very good. Or who do you think you are wanting that? That's not something you can have. It's that little voice that never seems satisfied. No matter what you do, it never is good enough. So I want you to just take a moment to think about maybe when you've had a time where it doesn't feel good enough. Have you had times where you've had in your mind, oh, I'm going to go for that job, and your inner critic's gone, why are you bothering? You're not qualified for that. You're not good enough for that. That's the inner critic. Now, here's the tricky thing about the inner critic. It feels like the truth. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. It feels like the truth. It feels like that inner critic is logical, it's reasonable, and it's even protective. But the truth is, it's not who you are. That inner critic is built upon all your past experiences, all the times when, like, you've had fears or conditioning, or you've heard stories about other people failing or not doing so good. You've learned from that, and you've absorbed that over time. It's not you, it's not the truth. Although it feels like that, it's not true. And sometimes without even realizing it, we just believe that that's who we are. I want you to think of your inner critic a little bit like a guard dog. Okay, I love dogs. Those who know me know I love dogs. So this was a good analogy for me. So think of the inner critic as a guard dog. Its job is to stop you stepping into danger, rejection, or embarrassment. It's there waiting to snap, waiting to bite, waiting to protect you. But it doesn't mean to harm you. What it does is keep you protected by keeping you small, keeping you back, holding you back, I suppose. It may bark at you and go, don't apply for that job. You'll only fail, because it's trying to protect you from any hurt you might have. It might whisper to you and say, don't say no. People might think badly of you. If you say no to that, then you're a bit selfish, aren't you? Or it might say, don't do that, don't answer that, don't show up like that. People don't want to see you like that. People want to see the real you, the one that backs away from conflict, or the one that doesn't speak up for yourself. Stay small, stay quiet. Otherwise, you're going to upset people. That's the inner critic. And the more we listen to it, the more we play small. We shrink our dreams, we silence our voices, and we hold back our full selves. Our world narrows and our confidence shrinks. And that's what had happened to me. I'd got to the point where I felt like I wasn't seen. And my mental health took a massive dive because I felt like the world would be better off without me, that I wasn't here for anything other than just, as an incidental. I made no sense. It made no sense for me to be here. I didn't matter to anybody. And that's what happens when you let the inner critic be the loudest voice in the room. So I want you to just notice, when does your inner critic show up most loudly? Is it when you're trying to make decisions? Is it when you're trying to make something new or do something new, trying something new? Is it when you look in the mirror and think, oh, I'm going to lose a bit of weight? Does it do what it did to me and go, don't be silly, you're going to fail anyway, you've tried so many times? Is it when you dare to want more for yourself? Like, I always wanted my own business. I always wanted to share this with other people. But that inner critic kept saying to me, don't be silly. You can't do that. You're not good enough to do that. Is it in those moments when your inner critic is the loudest? You don't need to fix it right now. I just want you to notice. Notice when that happens. Just pause a minute and take down some notes. That's why you've got this notepad. I want you to think of things that resonate with you today and take a breath, take a pause, write things down, okay? So when does that inner critic show up for you? So I want to do a little exercise with you now. It's a little naming the critic exercise. And it's simple. It's not hard. Don't worry. So we're going to basically take the power away from our inner critics. Excuse me, my nose was running. Apologies. So we're going to take some of the power away from the inner critic. And the way we do that is we're going to separate from ourselves. And how we separate from ourselves is by giving it a name. I'd like you to give your inner critic a name. My inner critic is called Becky. Okay. Don't ask me why. I think I heard it sometime years ago with my own coach, who called her inner critic Becky, and it just stuck. But Becky is the one that is the negative influence in my ear. She's the one it's basically like a Debbie Downer. And that could be a good name for your critic. Could be something like a nagging Nancy, or it could even be something like the perfectionist police, something that you want to name your critic that is suitable for you. So why? Because when we name it, when it shows up and when it says, I'm not good enough, you can say, all right, thanks, Becky. But that's just Becky talking again. That's not the truth. That's just Becky's idea. And it creates space between you and the voice, the space where choice can live, where you recognize that that is not the truth. That is just a thought. And there is a big difference here between thoughts and truth, okay? Your inner critic is not the truth. And I cannot stress that strongly enough. So think of a name for me. So now we've named our critic, Becky, nagging Nancy, moaning Myrtle, whatever you've named your little inner critic. I want to remind you that it isn't the truth. It's not your destiny. It's just a voice built from old fears and old conditioning. It's your little guard dog that's trying to protect you. And when you can recognize it, name it, and separate from it, you reclaim that power to choose a different voice, one that speaks with kindness and truth. And that's what we're going to go on and talk about now, is how we can recognize the kind voice, your inner truth, the one that is actually the one that we want to listen to, the one that basically shows us our potential, lights us up, talks to us like we matter, nurtures us, and is our inner best friend. It's softer, it's gentler, but it's often drowned out by all that noise. So your inner truth says things like, it's okay, you're just learning. And no, you may not know everything, but you're going to get there. It's okay not to have it all figured out, or you're doing the best you can. It might say things like, you're allowed to want more. You're allowed to want whatever you want. That's okay. You're allowed to, dream of having a Ferrari. That's not a problem. It's not a silly dream. If that's what you want, that's perfectly fine. And that's what the inner truth is. It's the quiet voice, because critics are loud. The inner critic, it's loud, it's pushy, and it's on repeat. So listening to this softer voice doesn't always get the airtime it deserves. So how on earth do we get that? If this inner critic is so loud, how on earth do we tune in to our inner truth? And that's what I'm going to tell you now. So I want you to think of 2 radio stations. I want you to think about getting in your car or turning your radio on at home, and somebody has messed your settings up, and you press search and you're looking for a particular radio station. But annoyingly, Capital Radio always comes up. So Capital's loud. It often has adverts. It's demanding. It always has interruptions. There's a lot of static on it. But that's the one that the radio wants to tune into all the time. You don't want that radio station. You want classic FM, or you want classic country, or you want a different radio station that makes you feel calm. But that radio station is one you have to search for. It's on a different frequency. And that's what the inner truth is. The inner truth is on a quiet frequency. It's one that you have to tune into carefully. It's one that you have to override. So where your inner critic is the one that always shows up, that's just something that you can override. It's something that we have to tune into. The work isn't about silencing the inner critic completely. Unfortunately, we're human, and we are hardwired to have part of us that is a protector. We all have protectors, and that's what our little inner critic does. It's there to protect us. But we need to override that with our inner truth and go, it's okay, I've got this. The real work here is noticing both voices and then choosing to give the inner truth more airtime. What you're choosing to do is you're choosing to say to the inner critic, thank you for trying to protect me, but that isn't the truth. The truth is here. So let me give you an example about this. So I've already talked about me wanting to start my own business and the inner critic that I had of it saying, don't be silly. You've got a really good, well-paying job here. I worked for Sky, I had a good job. I was doing really well at it. I'd got promotion after promotion. I was earning really good money. And I had a quiet nagging that I wasn't particularly happy. My job, it was great, but I wasn't settled or happy in it. It wasn't what I wanted to do. And I thought long and hard about starting my own business. And I had all of those loud, distracting inner critic voices of, you can't afford to do that. You're not good enough to do that. What really do you know about helping other people? And it went on and it went on. And I spent months ignoring my inner truth and listening to my inner critic. And it took a lot of courage and a lot of tuning out of that inner critic and tuning up of the inner truth for me to realize that actually, until I made the leap, I would never know. Because what if it was a success? What if I did really well at this? What if I could help people? What if it worked? Now, your inner truth says things like that to you. It says things like, Helen, you've always had ideas that are worth sharing. You can talk the hind legs off a donkey, and I really, really can. And I hope when I speak and resonate with people because it comes from a place in my heart, because I don't want anyone to feel stuck like I did for so long. And coaching was the door that opened at the end of my tunnel, that I was so dark. It was in such a dark place that coaching opened that door at the end of the tunnel and I saw that light. And what if I'd listened to that inner critic? What if I'd kept myself held back? I wouldn't be feeling the joy that I feel now at helping the people that I do. Is it a tough road? Yeah, you're damn right it's a tough road. But my inner truth has told me that I can do this, and I have to believe that I can. So the critic sounds louder. But what I want you to learn from this is if you pause and breathe and tune in, you'll hear the truth calling you. You'll hear the truth saying to you, but you can do this. You can reach this goal. You can lose the weight. You can get the job. You can be an amazing mum. You can be whatever you want to be. You can have the happiest life that you want to have. All you need to do is listen to your inner truth. Yeah, there's going to be bumps on the way. I'm not going to even pretend that there isn't. But I want you to take a moment and think of something in your life right now where you felt the critic show up. Have you been thinking about maybe looking for a job? Have you been thinking about maybe changing your career? Have you been thinking about what to do when the kids get older? Or having a family, starting a family? All these different areas of change in our life. I recently spoke to a lady who was going through divorce, and it's a really sad time. And it's like grief. It's like a really bad grief. And she was really struggling to find any positivity in her life. And she was listening to the inner critic a lot of the time. It's because of me. I did this. I was the reason. And we did a lot of work around that inner critic and around turning that volume down so she could really hear about the inner truth. And her inner truth told her that she deserved more, that she wasn't there to fix anybody else, that she was so loved, that she deserved so much more, that she had the whole world open to her. But that had been all drowned out by this inner critic. And that's not a place we want to be. We want to be in the place where we can listen to our inner truth. Acknowledge the critic. Yeah, thanks. You're there to protect me. You're there to protect me from maybe another bad relationship. You're there to protect me from hurt again. You're there to protect me from, choosing something that isn't right. Thank you for that. But I've got me. I know what I'm good at. I know what I can do because I'm listening to that inner truth. If you turn down the volume of your inner critic just for a minute, what might your inner truth say to you? What would it say about the situation that we mentioned before, about the job that you maybe want to apply for, about the career you wanted to start, about what ideas you've got for when the kids grow up or starting a family, or if you're going through a really sad time, either grieving or divorce? What would your inner truth say to you now? Maybe jot it down. Maybe write down those feelings, because those feelings are powerful. You don't need to write reams and reams through this. It's keywords, it's thoughts that come to your mind. That's what you want to write down. Let's practice hearing it together. I want to, if you feel comfortable, I want you to close your eyes for a moment. I'll do it with you. I want you to bring to mind something that you've been struggling with. It may be uncomfortable, and you're safe, you're in a safe place. It's just a thought we're having now. What does your inner critic say about this situation? What is it telling you? What have you heard on repeat? Think about that. And then reach out for that dial on that radio. And I want you to turn those voices down. I want you to acknowledge it, acknowledge your little inner critic voice. Say, okay, Becky, thank you, I hear you. You know, Moaning Myrtle, thank you for those voices. Whatever you called your inner critic, turn the volume down. And then I want you to imagine that there's another voice, your best friend, somebody who loves you, sat right there with you right now. And I want you to imagine what they'd say to you about this situation. You can do this. You can manage. You're going to be okay. Everything is going to be all right. Think of that softer kind of voice, that inner truth. I want you to take a few breaths now and just listen. So if you close your eyes, open them, and jot down anything that you feel in that moment. Is it peace? Is it calm? Are you still struggling with listening to the inner critic? If you are, that's okay. It takes a long time to quieten those voices down sometimes. I know I had a lifetime of them saying you're not good enough. But what evidence is there of that? Look at where you are now in your life and how much you've achieved, how much you've sacrificed, how much you've, fought to get where you are, what you have, all the things around you, your health, your strength, everything that you are right now. That's not by accident. That's what you've done. That's not just inconsequential. That's important. So I want you to remember that the inner critic is always going to be there. We can't get rid of it because that's life. We're human beings. And we've got this inner protector that's always going to say to us, hold on there. This is my job. My job is to help protect you. It doesn't do it in the best way. It's almost like Becky, in my mind, is my bully. She bullies me into things. But I will not let myself be bullied anymore. She's not going to tell me that I'm not good enough. She's not going to tell me that I can't do what I want to do. I'll listen to her. I'll smile and nod. But then my inner truth tells me that I'm perfectly capable. I can do whatever I want to do. And that helps me win. Your inner truth is always going to be quiet, but it's always going to be wiser. It's always going to be the one that you can turn to for peace, for support, for guidance. And the more you practice tuning into it, the stronger it becomes. And every time you choose to listen to it, you're building a life that's grounded in truth, not fear. And that's something to aim for. So I want you to grab your notebook again, and I want you to do this with me. I want you to write down one sentence your inner critic has been saying lately. We've done this exercise a little bit, so it'll be quite easy for you to think about something, think about a situation where your inner critic has been saying something quite loud. Pause for a moment, think about it, and then write it down. And then I want you to write down what your best friend, when that person, that warm, comforting person that you just thought about, would say to you in that situation. And I want you to write that down as well. It might say something like, if you're thinking, I don't know, I'm failing as a mum. Who as a mum has not felt that? We've all felt that, that's got little people around. But what if your truth said to you, but you're showing up? I remember a time when I was talking about this to my friend, that we'd go to these coffee mornings, me and my friend, where we, the play dates where you'd have all your kids at the creche and they'd have play mornings, and kids were probably about 18 months. And I'd listen to the mums saying, oh, well, so he's just walked today, or he said his first word. And me and my friend had look at each other and think, hell's bells, we're up, we're dressed, and our kids are here. Not in matching outfits because they've chosen it themselves, but they've got pants on and maybe odd socks, but we're here. We're doing all right. And that is your inner truth right there. It's not the voice in your head that goes, well, I'm not good enough because I didn't put Molly in a matching outfit today. Molly's up, Molly's dressed, Molly's fed, So your inner critic in this point that says I'm failing as a mum, the truth there is, hang on, you're showing up every day. You're doing the best that you can, and that's what matters. And that's the bit you concentrate on. If you're at work and you think, oh, flipping heck, I'm rubbish, I'm behind everyone else, I don't do my work as fast as everybody else. Okay, but you're moving at your own pace. You're doing okay. Does your manager have a problem? If there is a problem there, work together because you can work this out. But your pace is your pace. That's okay. Don't compare yourself to others. And we'll do another workshop about comparison, because comparison is the thief of joy. And it's something else that I'm passionate about. But I want you to take that moment now and write down your own inner truth. So I want you now to picture your mind as a garden. Another thing I love, gardening. And thankfully, I've passed this on to my daughter, who is a fantastic gardener. But what she has noticed is that weeds grow faster than flowers. They grow fast. They grow wherever they want without much effort. And I want to liken that to the inner critic. The inner critic is always there, a bit like a weed. It's ready to sprout up at any opportunity. And if you don't get on top of it, it spreads. It's like that dandelion with all those little seed heads. If you don't pick that dandelion and squash it, it's going to spread. And then more dandelions will pop up, and thoughts will keep popping up, because that inner critic then thinks, oh, she's listened to me once. Let's do this again. I want you to think about your inner truth like the flowers in your garden. They take time to be nurtured. They take care and attention. And if you look after them, they bloom and they look beautiful and they make you feel really good. If you only focus on the weeds, they'll take over your whole garden. But if you start noticing the flowers, giving them water, over time, they bloom, they spread, they grow, and they change the landscape. And that's what we're doing. So when you think of that inner critic, think of it as weeds. Think of it as something that you want to kind of get rid of. You want to stomp on them as much as you can. And you want to rewrite that inner critic as the flower, something kind and truthful that deserves nurturing and watering. So we've been exploring these two voices, the critic and the truth. Now it's time to give your truth a microphone and let it speak out. So we're going to write down our statements of truth now. And this is something you can take with you from this. You can carry it with you after this workshop and repeat to yourself and return to whenever the critics get loud. So I want you to take a couple of deep breaths. This is quite hard for me because I can't actually breathe through my nose, but you get the picture. Take some nice deep breaths. In and out. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing it, but if you don't feel like it, that's fine. You don't need to. I want you to imagine that critic's voice gently fading into the background, like that radio being turned down, like the weeds disappearing from the garden. And I want you to listen for that softer voice, that kinder voice, that best friend voice within you, the one that soothes you, strokes you, holds you tight. And I want you to ask yourself these three questions, and I want you to jot them down. The first one is, what do I know deep down is true about me? So this is the first question. What do I know deep down that is true about me? The second question is, what do I need to remind myself when doubt creeps in? So that's what do I need to do to remind myself about when doubt creeps in? So what do I need to remind myself when doubt creeps in? And then that third voice is, if my best friend could see me clearly, what would she or he say to me that I need to hear? So if my best friend could see me clearly, what would he or she say to me that I need to hear? I don't want you to overthink it. I just want you to capture the words, the phrases, even single sentences. It doesn't have to be a lot. The things that I know and feel at this is that when you pull your words together, you'll get your statement of truth. I'm Helen. I'm okay, and I am worthy. I'm learning and growing and becoming stronger each day. That's my inner truth. What do you know? What are you allowed to feel? It may be something like I am worthy of love and belonging exactly as I am. I trust myself and my decisions to take me one step forward at a time. Keep this short. Keep it personal and powerful. It's a sentence that reflects you. I want you to write it down. I want you to get to a place where you can write this sentence down. And then I want you to do something that's going to make you feel a bit uncomfortable. I want you to go to the mirror when you next get inside or when you next have a moment. And I want you to repeat your inner truth into the mirror. And I want you to look yourself in the eyes when you do this. It's going to feel really weird, really uncomfortable. But it's really important, because this is how you get to know that this is your truth. Your statement of truth is something to carry with you. It's something to keep when you will feel those inner critic thoughts coming back. You need to write it somewhere or keep it somewhere that you'll see it often. Put it on a sticky note by your bathroom mirror. Yeah, you might get some funny looks from your boyfriend or whoever you live with. Who cares? This is your inner truth. This is for you. This is for your growth. Every time that critic shows up, you don't have to fight it anymore, because you've just discovered how you're going to solve every single little inner critic voice that comes into your head. Because you're going to say, thank you, Becky. Thank you, critic. Thank you, moaning Myrtle. Thank you, whoever you've named your inner critic as. But this is my truth. And you're going to look at that truth, the one that you've written down, and you're going to be like, yeah, I've got this. Your inner truth is not the truth. Your inner critic is not the truth. That's what you've got your inner truth for. Your inner critic are thoughts. Your inner truth is you. It's the truth. It's who you are. This is exactly the kind of work we do in coaching. I really hope you've enjoyed this. I really hope that you've taken something away from this, that you've listened to what I've had to say, and you've felt some value in this. Noticing the stories that keep you small and rewiring them so that your inner truth leads the way is something that we cover in coaching. We cover so much other stuff. So you could be struggling with weight, you could be going through a divorce, you could be having change issues in anything, and coaching will help. If you found it useful, I do lots of different coaching packages. At the moment, I've got 6 sessions for £200, which is a safe, quiet space for you to challenge your critic, to find your voice again, step in the lighter, calmer version of you. That's 6 sessions to grow. Now, you might not want to work with me right now, and that's absolutely fine. That's okay. I just want you to have value from this session, but I want you to know that there is a place to go, and I wanted you to know the value of that. If you feel you'd like to work with me, then please contact me and we'll get that sorted. But if you don't, keep in touch, because I'll be doing more of these and we'll grow together. in whatever capacity that you want. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that you'll come back for another session. Hopefully I won't have COVID when you do, and hopefully that I will be able to do this live next time. But thank you for being here, and take care.